To order. Ooh, that's loud. Hello. Using my inside voice. Verification of meeting posted. This meeting was posted in accordance with open meeting laws of Wisconsin. Attendance, roll call.
Jason. Brett. Here. Lori, I'm Terry.
Here.
Kevin. Lori. And myself, Tracy, and Bob is absent and excused.
All right, we do have a quorum present. And if everybody would rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Tracy will lead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everybody. And we go to 1E, approval of the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to consent agenda. Motion to approve consent agenda as presented. Would anyone like anything removed for individual consideration? Anyone? No? All right, is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And we move on to number 3, student representation.
Okay, so at Muskego High School, Student Council held their spooktacular event on October 28th for children in the area, and they were able to serve 350 meals to families from donations from the food pantry at Spooktacular. Quarter 1 report cards came out, and Quarter 2 started on October 30th. Warriors football unfortunately lost in playoffs to Franklin, ending their season, but Wisconsin Football Coaches Association released their all-state academic recognition, and 11 seniors from Muskego were recognized. The WIAA state championship for cross country was on October 28th. The boys team placed 8th, with a special shout out to senior Diego Siriano for finishing in 9th place, running the fastest time and receiving the highest place in Muskego history. The girls team also ran strong, finishing as a team in 15th, and sophomore Ella Anschutz became the 2023 state champion. She ran the course in the 6th fastest time in WIAA history. Wisconsin Drama Club performed the Crucible last week, and English 11 students went to watch during the school day as they were reading the Crucible in class. The Warriors held their Tri-M Pops concert talent show on Friday in our PAC. Girls swim and dive competed at Waukesha South for state on Saturday. They came 8th overall, and several Warriors made it to the podium in their events. Sophomore Lindsay Schiegel placed 6th in the 50 free, I think. Sophomore Bridget Coral came 6th in the 500. Sophomore Emmy Meyer came 6th in the 100 back, and the 200 free relay team of Lindsay, Milena, Ellen, and Jillian placed 5th, and they set a new school record. Muskego held their Division I signing day, where 9 of our Warriors signed to their respective schools. Our entire varsity girls golf team received academic all-state recognition. Student Council is holding their food drive in first period classes from November 6th to the 18th. First period class that brings the most non-perishables will receive a donut reward following the food drive. And finally, NHS is hosting the annual blood drive this Wednesday. Donors are welcome to come from 2:30 to 5. Moving on to Lake Danoon. Lake Danoon had an end of the quarter spirit week from the 30th to November 3rd. They also started their Battle of the Bills competition, raising money for the Wounded Warriors Project. This runs through the month of November, and they are looking to reach their goal of $2,500. Lake Danoon Tech Ed students created a leash lodge, which is a place to hang your pets' leashes and waste bags. Families were able to start ordering November 3rd and will get to pick them up in early December. Lake Danoon is starting up their fabrication lab again, and their first project is a Scrabble wall art for the 6th graders. Open gyms have started at Lake Danoon, and they run through December 16th, and they are held on Saturday mornings from 8 to 11, and 8th grade students took their pre-ACT assessments last Tuesday. At Muskego Lakes held a variety of club meetings in the past weeks, including knitting and crocheting, chess club, splash homework club, robotics club, Dungeons and Dragons club, and science club. 8th graders also took on the pre-ACT last Tuesday. Tomorrow, 5th and 6th grade students will take the COG AT test, which is used to evaluate kids' cognitive abilities, especially with problem solving. And Mosquito Lakes is asking for donations to their indoor recess cart so people can donate different activities through their Amazon wish list on the weekly newsletter. Building Academic Foundations class is looking for people to come in and talk about their different careers. The careers of interest at the moment include graphic design, medical field, lawyers, illustrators, engineers, sports, and computer science. And finally, Muskego Lakes is having their musical auditions today, tomorrow, and Wednesday for their production of Willy Wonka Jr. At Mill Valley had its fall concert on Friday. Parents came and watched by last name 9:15 for kindergarten and last names A through L and 2:15 for M through Z. Mill Valley had a coin race from the 6th to the 10th, and the funds from this are going to families in need during the holiday season. Trunk or Treat happened on the 28th of October, being rescheduled due to weather issues. Students can participate in after-school theater classes through an 8-week session at Mill Valley. They run from the 29th to November 29th to the 24th of January. They are once a week on Wednesdays. Artist Mariana Lee is back and working with the students on 2 new sculpture projects to join the sculpture they already made outside. Students are working on art banners to hang in the gym. Mill Valley finished their Wall of Honor for veterans, and you can find a picture of the result on the Mill Valley weekly newsletter. And finally, Mill Valley is looking for holiday helpers to help students wrap their holiday gifts they purchase for their families. At Bay Lane had their harvest party, and students got to dress up in their costumes on Halloween. Second grader Olive Hasseltine won Music Student of the Month for October. Last Friday, Bay Lane hosted their Veterans Day Assembly, and students shared their What a Veteran Means to Us posters, and students heard from veteran speakers. Candace Fleming and illustrator Eric Rauman made a visit to Bay Lane to share a presentation on writing and illustrating processes of creating a book. They came on November 7th. Early November, Bay Lane had the Test Corners Fire Department come and share about their job to their students. Students had the opportunity to ask questions and tour a fire truck. And on November 6th, they started the Fuel Up to Play 60 activity, which encourages students to eat healthier by awarding meals with fruits and veggies. Students fill out a calendar to try to get as close to 77 points as possible and to win prizes. And finally, at Lakeview, the Math Munch Club is back again with Miss Benz, and their first meeting was November 2nd. Students got all dressed up on Halloween in their fun costumes. First graders finished their community project on November 9th with their donations to Hawes. And last week, students had breakfast with veterans and their Veterans Day Assembly, and there are pictures posted to the Lakeview Instagram page. And that's all.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Hannah?
I just think Diego and Ella and the 200 free relights said good tidings, everybody, with their win. So nice job.
All right. Thank you so much. Moving on to the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. Inside voice, okay. So with all the amazing accomplishments and recognitions we've had for students, staff in our district, one might think that we will soon run out of first-time accomplishments. Tonight, though, we have yet another first. We are thrilled to recognize the amazing effort and outcome of one of our very gifted student athletes. So 2 weekends ago, Ella Anschutz became the first cross-country runner from Muskego to become an individual state champion when she beat all other runners at the state meet in Wisconsin Rapids. So Ella and coaches, welcome back from South Dakota. You were just there this weekend. We'd ask if you could please come up so that we can recognize you. Okay.
We have a certificate of appreciation for you, so I'm just going to read through it. The Muskego Norway School Board presents this certificate in grateful recognition of Ella Anschutz for her contribution to the girls' cross-country team for a tremendous 2023 season that culminated in an exceptional honor of individually winning first place at the WIAA State Girls Cross Country Championship. The Muskego Norway School Board commends Ella for her perseverance, team spirit, and commitment to excellence in the sport of girls cross country that has brought honor to herself, her family, the Muskego Norway schools, and community. The Muskego Norway School Board wishes Ella success in her future education and career endeavors. Thank you. Congratulations.
We're sure.
We know each other.
Next on the agenda, we have our Muskego Lakes administrative team, Rachel Rajewski and also Nancy Pash, here to share a little bit more with us about some of the work that's being done here at Muskego Lakes. So we'll let you guys take it from here.
Hello. Thank you all for being here. It's fun having you here and hosting, and especially having the middle school kids at dinner. That's always fun. So, we are excited to share some of the celebrations that we're very proud of looking back on this last year, and then also share with you a growth opportunity, one of many that we are also working really hard on in this coming year ahead. So, all right, I got it. First up, if we look back, there's a little bit of a glare there, but from 2018-19, when we opened as a school, to now, you can see our student engagement data. And in every single metric except for one, we've actually improved, which, working with middle schoolers, we're especially proud of those numbers. Two areas that we experience a lot of growth in. One is school rules are fair, which is also a tough one with middle school kids because a lot of stuff isn't always fair to them. Our strategy has been teaching, reinforcing, communicating, and being consistent with those expectations we have for them. They know what will happen should they not meet our expectations in classrooms, in hallways, at recess, in all of our locations. The other area that we've grown in more significantly is I'm recognized when I do good work at Muskego Lakes. Some of the strategies we've put in place are a school-wide contact log where we recognize students as a staff. So far this year, we have over 1,300 postcards home to families already recognizing students. We have quarterly recognition awards, the teams do. We feature students on social media. We have principal shout-outs, all kinds of cool ways to recognize students. So those are just two of the areas, but we have strategic actions around a lot of these areas. And specifically, teams pick a goal area, and they also set strategic actions around their goal because we break down the data by grade level. The area that is red is a bit out of our control with supply chain and other factors, but it's the students having healthy food options. And so we're working on that one. But the rest we're pretty proud of the growth we've experienced so far. Okay. Mm-hmm. There we go. Sure, that'd be great. Next up, we have parent satisfaction, and you can see from 2018-19, again, when the school opened until this most recent year, our overall parent satisfaction has increased every single year. Again, something we're really proud of, not something that happens by accident. We spend a lot of time partnering with our families and responding to their concerns, ideas, suggestions. We know they know their kids best, and oftentimes their ideas make our school better. A couple that we've implemented this year, our lost and found gets really big and overflowing. So a parent said, hey, could you take pictures of all of that and put it online so we can look for our kids' belongings? Sure thing, great idea. We have 30 plus co-curriculars, and when you have one or more students, there's a lot to keep track of. So they said, hey, could you put in the newsletter the times, when things start and end, the room number they're in, who's running it. And so a week at a glance, the next week, they can see when all the clubs are, where they run, how long they run until, the adult advisor if they have questions. So another idea they brought forward. I think we're one of the last schools to send home printed report cards in the mail. Because it's important to the families, and they've told us that every year. We stopped one year and we heard about it. So it's important. They want to get that report card in the mail, so we mail them home to them. Just a few of the many things that the parents have told us that would help them support their children, and it always makes our school a better spot to be. Next up, we have our DPI report card. And what's exciting about this next slide is that it's the first time we've had some consistent data over 3 years. So you can see on the left is from 2021. The year before that was COVID. And then over 3 years' time, that overall score went up from 88.6 to 95.3. We've maintained significantly exceeds expectations over these last 3 years. If you look down to that next row that says achievement, it's a little bit hard to see, but it measures English language arts and math. And those numbers over 3 years go up every single year. And if you can see the state line, it actually is going down. So we're pretty proud of that. Our growth has also increased over all 3 years in ELA and in math. And some of our target group measures, which is the bottom 25 percentile of our students, looking at achievement growth and then absenteeism. Taking a closer look, we talked a little bit about this last year, and we look at reading achievement. We can focus on many different measures. That first category is our iReady, which is our universal screener. And you can see the spring results over 4 years. We've increased reading achievement using iReady as one indicator. Next, in the middle, you can see the forward results, which is the state exam, and we've increased those results over 4 years as well. And then the report card calculation also increased over 4 years as well. So whichever measure you look at, our students are achieving at higher levels every year in the last 3 years. Looking at math, which has been a relative strength of this district, last year we were second in the county at 76.5% of students proficient. That went up from 2018-19, it was 70 point something. So a pretty good growth. We were fourth in the county, moved up to second. And then you can see we really dig down into that data and look at the domains, and in all the domains for math, we've also increased. And you may have seen this slide from Mr. Jeff Peterson at the Committee of the Whole, but we talk a lot about in a continuous improvement district, are we lucky or are we leading? And we believe that we are leading here because we are strategic and intentional about our actions, which has led to the results that we have. It's really important that we can understand where the results are coming from so that we can replicate those results across our school and share what's working across schools within our system as well. So back in 2018-19, as a school, I remember before this was even open, a group of about 16 teacher leaders, we met and decided what did we want to focus on, what were going to be our priorities as a school that we were going to be steadfast and stay focused on. And we picked 3 meaningful and robust goals. And the 3 goals were highly effective skill groups within our school's instructional framework, highly effective PLCs or professional learning communities, and then increasing learner agency. And since we opened, those have been our priorities on our professional development days, staff meetings, in all we do as a school. It comes back to those priorities. Real briefly to touch on these 3, because it's because of this work that we've seen this growth. Our teacher leaders researched what's working from Hattie and effect sizes to a number of different educational researchers out there, and essentially designed a framework for learning for our school. And so we use what we learned, and now the teachers design learning across classrooms following this framework. It ensures the students do the heavy lifting, not the teachers, and it's also based in research. And there's some predictability on the executive functioning side, so students know what to expect across their classes. And in that workshop time, that biggest light purple pie is where a lot of the work happens. The second priority is our professional learning communities, and that means our teachers look at data. How did the kids do for my class, Mr. Peterson's class, Courtney Arnson's class? And if Jeff's kids did better, what did you do? And I want to learn. And we're going to work together to figure that out because they own the success of all the kids. It's not about the kids in my class, it's about all of the kids. And so it's the teachers pooling their expertise and their strengths, and it's benefiting the kids in the whole grade. They learn from each other, they see one another's data. So I could see 8th grade literacy teachers' data for all her classes the last 5 years. And they go and watch each other, and they ask questions, and they learn, and they replicate it. And finally, our third priority is learner agency. And what that means is we want the students to own not only the culture here, but their own achievement. And so, you know, on the left is compliance, where you show up to class and you do what's expected of you, and you're more of a passive learner. Engagement, you maybe go through the motions. But empowerment is you take accountability for your learning. You set goals around it. You have a voice in your school, and that matters. And so this has been an important part of our priorities here as a school. A couple things we've done around this priority. The students have portfolios where they track their data on key standards. They set goals, and they ask teachers for what they need to progress as learners in their portfolios. We seek out their input on important factors that impact the school, and we listen to them. And they get voice and choice in a lot of what happens in our community, from you heard about our knitting and crochet club, to Veterans Day, to karaoke at lunch. They tell us what's important to them, and we do our best to make it happen. Growth areas. So to be honest, we have a lot to be proud of, but we spend most of our time talking about what we want to get better at, because it's just what we do. So I'm going to talk to you about one area that we are looking to improve on, and I could tell you the same story for a whole lot of data points, but I'm going to pick one. When we look at our math trends for students with disabilities, we have not seen the growth that we want to see. So what this graph is telling you is that the kids are not proficient, and it's not getting better over time. And that is whether kids are at grade level. So this is, in particular, if you look at a grade level, it's going to tell you the kids with disabilities are not performing at grade level yet. And it's a concern, and we want to figure it out. So in the past, what we've done on the left, I think we've talked about key standards or standards of focus. This is a sample data profile for an 8th grade student with a disability. So the teachers would teach the standards on the left throughout the school year. Then in the middle, or the next column over, the students take a formative assessment to tell the teacher and to let the student know to the extent to which they understood the target. Then the teacher designs skill groups targeting misconceptions, patterns of errors, in order to fill those gaps that they saw in the student's assessment. And then there's another assessment to help us understand, again, what did the students learn and what do they still need? And so this is what it looked like last year, where the students, there was teaching, a formative assessment, more targeted teaching, and another assessment. And as you can see, the student, for the most part, progressed from the first assessment to the second. Not all, but most. But you can also see that the student was not green or at grade level by the time they took that second assessment. So big picture, looking at that same student. So by the end of, I think, 6th grade, that student was at a 22 percentile in math on forward. A year later in the spring, they were at 38 percentile. So that student actually closed more than a year and a half of gaps, but that green bar that graph showed is still pretty far up there. So we're moving kids along, but we're not getting them up to grade level yet. And so this year, the leadership team strategized, and we still have the same first components of the learning cycle, but we've added another component to it. So again, if you start at the upper right, we teach the standard, we assess it, figure out what the kids know and don't know yet. Teachers implement skill groups, working together, sometimes across classrooms, to address misconceptions. Then another assessment, formative assessment, to tell us the extent to which a student understood. We've added this next layer to ensure more students are getting into that green band. So PLCs are using conferring sessions, they're using learning pathways, action plans, and they're designing learning opportunities for students, and then one more assessment happens to again see, is that student progressing, and if not, what can we do about it? So a sample profile, you can see it, we've just added that on. There's a gap closing intervention. It is the classroom teacher in the classroom with 28 other kids in there who are moving through workshop and with their PLCs designing specific and targeted actions for those students. And then again, you can see it's not magic. You can see the bottom one, they stayed red that whole time, but they are progressing closer to that grade level proficiency. And our belief is we get 4 years with them to get them to that green. So that's what we're going to keep working on this year. Again, a lot of what we do is because of the continuous improvement culture here. The teachers are relentless. They believe in the kids. They believe in them more than the kids believe in themselves. And they will do just about anything to figure out how to help them. And the report card is fancy and looks great, but the confidence in the kids when they get to that, when they see the growth, whether it's green or not, when they see that proficiency, they track it, they reflect on it, they share it with their family is the coolest part. So we're building their confidence as they're progressing toward grade level, and we're seeing that impact the whole child. Yeah. Any questions?
Thank you for sharing. Congratulations on such huge success. I mean, fantastic. I also appreciate the fact that you have shared things that you're lacking in and showing us what you're doing to improve on those things. We always get those questions, what are we doing to make things better? And we know that you guys drive so hard to make each kid successful here. So thank you for laying that out. That was very nice, and wow, great, fantastic growth. That was really great to see. So
I just have one question.
Yeah.
So your slide with the workshops, which is the majority of the time that the teachers are doing, can you give me an example of what a workshop item would be or how that would play out?
Yeah, so the students might read a grade level article and might code it for words they don't know and have to, recap paragraph by paragraph. A teacher might confer with 2 students on the errors from their assessment. What they do is they mark them wrong, but they don't tell the student what was wrong. So the student has to do that metacognition, figure out where they went wrong. The teacher confers. Then they might pull a skill group for students who need a prerequisite skill taught. Then they might go back and check in with the students. So it's the teacher's never sitting, but it's very intentional. We have some students that are working on extension action plans, so it's the next grade level standard. We have some students in the last 2 years who actually lead skill groups for their peers. So come check it out sometime. We'd love to have you.
Sounds interesting. And then do you try that in other areas that kind of are not, like music or band or anything like, do they have anything like that? Or?
Yes, so the framework is across all the classes. Band sometimes does that, and sometimes they're more whole group. But when they are like that, they will have students. We're lucky to have lesson rooms. So they'll have students in those rooms while the kids are cycling through working with the teacher. For sure in an art class or robotics class, you'll find that same thing. The teacher might be working with a group that, got the coding wrong, while some of the other kids are off building what they need. So it is an expectation, and they get feedback on that framework model, regardless of the class. PE is doing skill groups for kids, so
I think that's great for the kids because there's consistency, and so they kind of get it, and yeah, that's great.
yes.
I just want to say thanks for all the work that you and the staff and the students do to really achieve. I mean, when I saw the 95.3 on the report That's what it's all about, is getting our students to achieve, and that's just really amazing. We're getting more and more schools in our district that are getting up to this very high level of performance, and it's just going to help the kids as they develop, going through school and hopefully on to whatever college or career choice they make. So thank you for all the work you and your staff do.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thanks, Rachel and Nancy. Pretty amazing results, and fun to listen to the way that you're talking about the work and the work that's been done over the course of the last 4 years, shifting the culture at Muskego Lakes from a culture of teaching to a culture of learning, and that was very evident in all of what you shared, so thank you for all of your efforts. Moving on to the next agenda item is the WASB Joint Convention. That is coming to Milwaukee very soon here, January 17th through the 19th. We usually have participation from board members as well as administrators that attend the convention. So if you are interested, please let Lori Buxengard know by December 1st, and she will take care of registration. I know that we have multiple administrators that have already registered and are looking to do some fantastic learning. So great opportunity to network with other board members and find out what's happening around the region and also the state. And this takes us to our very last item on the superintendent report. There are some awards that you want to win over and over again, and there are some awards that you never want to win ever again. This would be one of them. Jeremiah, why don't you take it from here and talk a little bit about what this is?
Good tidings, everyone. Oh, that's loud. Yeah, so as Jeff noted, we did have a fire last year at Bay Lane. I think most of you guys were on the board and remember that. We were able to navigate through it, and we're recognized by the state through WASBO as doing a good job navigating through that emergency. After we received the award, we presented to a group of probably 70 folks that do facilities work around the state and tried to help them, figure out what they would do in the event of an emergency like that. So it was good to be able to share our story and help others learn through that. There's just a short video that goes a little deeper in if you want to press play.
The purpose of the Recovery of the Year Award is to recognize a school district, insurance company, and restoration company that worked in tandem to quickly recover from an incident such as fire, severe weather, or flood. I'm honored to present the first Recovery of the Year Award to Muskego Norway Schools, Kelman Restoration, M3 Insurance, Environmental Management Consultants, EMC Insurance, and LG Shaw & Company for their successful recovery after a fire at the Bay Lane Elementary School. Thank you for your efforts to restore that building and get the students back to school.
Well, it was a early Sunday morning, and I got a phone call from our high school operations supervisor, who's actually a firefighter as well, and he let me know that there was an actual fire at one of our elementary schools. I immediately started to respond to the scene and called into action our disaster restoration company, Kelman, to help assist. From a recovery standpoint, working with Kelman and EMC Insurance was a success. Kelman had a full busload of workers to help restore the building within 9 days. So it was a large elementary school, and to get us back up and running in 9 days was just a fantastic effort.
So when you're looking at a school fire, certainly it's more than just the visible, this is where the fire occurred, but it's more far-reaching with smoke, odor, and soot all being involved in all the fires typically.
Super grateful for all the folks that helped us get through it, from EMC Insurance, EMC Environmental, Kelman Restoration, even our adjuster did a really good job with LJ Shaw, all of our staff, teachers, and all those that help support get us back up and running. So thank you.
Well, and it's pretty cool that we're receiving this award. Our company is built for this type of an event. Our people are trained in this. and we're experienced as well. So for us to be recognized for our efforts on a project like this means a lot. Recognition from our peers, recognition from our customers is always a good thing. And we thought this was a great project, and we're certainly happy to be involved. Glad it was a positive outcome, and again, we're always out there to help everybody else.
We would hope to never receive this award again because it means that there was a disaster. We're really thankful to be recognized by WASCO and the committee for selecting us. It was really 9 days. I hope to never have to relive in my career, but if we did it all over again, I feel like we did all the right things during the recovery. And I really hope that when we share our story with others that join our session, that they learn that in the face of something like this, that they can work their way through it. They can be a leader in the system to be able to help guide their system through it. So hopefully they can learn a lot from our session.
One simple but brilliant trick to heat your home in 90 seconds and save thousands of dollars on your heating bill this winter. This genius way to heat any...
Let's keep that rolling. Just one final thank you to, I remember my first year in the job. I believe Brett was the only person on the board at the time, but we brought forward this idea of having a restoration contract with a company to ensure that if we had a disaster, that we had a connection with somebody to help us through that. And we spent like a few board meetings discussing it. And thankfully, we hired Belfour. And then a couple years ago, we brought on Kelman as a secondary. So we have two good relationships in the event that there's an emergency. And we've used them both more than I'd like to have used anyone. But thank you guys for supporting that. So.
Well, I think the school did an awesome job, like offshooting the students over to the high schools and the middle schools and just the whole gamut of individuals that were involved in that process. It's just, they did a fabulous job.
Thanks.
Yeah, it certainly was a team effort and a community approach. And without the support of the buildings that were receiving those particular students, giving up some of their learning spaces, as well as just incredible partnership with our parents and families, we were able to make it happen. So it was amazing to see that happen last spring. Sure. Thank you, Jeremiah. And that concludes your superintendent report.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jeremiah. Appreciate you. Moving on to the president's report. I just want to thank Muskego Lakes for having us here, for sharing their students with us, and their generational club. That was really neat. The school district did a fantastic job, I think, in every single school celebrating Veterans Day and honoring our veterans. That was really great to see. I love that it was shared out on social media, so those of us that aren't in the buildings could see that. It was wonderful. And then just a small update for our superintendent search update. We have announced our 2 finalists, and this week we'll be doing individual interviews with them and some building visits with those candidates. And just again, a large thank you to the board for going through this process. It's a lot of hours, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of late nights, it's a lot of meetings. And for Lori and Jeff for your support through all of this and scheduling. I know it's been kind of crazy with everything going on, so thank you very much. It's been quite the process, but I think we're doing a great job. So thank you, everybody. And that concludes the president's report. On to the clerk's report.
The only report that I have is that we'll be looking in the next month as to how to handle the elections, being that I'm on.
You can just read that.
Yep. The recovery. The 3 school board positions are up for election for the 2024 for 3-year terms. Tracy Blair, Terry Boyer, and Kevin Zimmerman. The notice of the school board election will be published in the Wednesday, November 15, 2023 edition of the Waukesha County Now. Interested district residents who are eligible may file a declaration of candidacy and a campaign registration statement at the Educational Services Center at South 87 West 187 63 Woods Road, Muskego, between the hours of 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, beginning December 1st, 2023. The deadline for filing is 5 p.m. on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024. Primary election, if necessary, will take place on Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. The spring election will take place on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. If an incumbent is not running for re-election, a written declaration of non-candidacy should be provided by the Educational Services Center no later than 5 p.m. on Friday, December 22nd, 2023. The term of office for candidates elected at the spring election is April 22nd, 2024 to April 25th, 2027. There's just that one change.
Thank you. Moving on to 5C, board member reports. Jason? Right. Can't see you.
I have two things. I emailed everybody. I attended a workshop for Robert's Rules of Order, and I provided the handouts that they provided. I sent you all a copy of the handouts they provided, which was very informative and very well done. And then I also attended the WSB fall legislative session. It covered a number of topics. The one thing that really stood out to me is that we basically have an aging population, and that our school-age children numbers are going to be declining probably for the next 10 years or so. Beyond that, it's really hard to say. So it was very interesting, and if you have any questions about either of those, please let me know, email me, or just ask me. And the third thing is, as Jeff mentioned, we have the WASBO, ASA, and all the other associations tied in with the Education Convention. The early bird is coming up pretty quick, the early bird registration. So if you're wanting to go, as Jeff mentioned, please register with Lori as soon as possible. Thank you.
Tracy?
Yes, the season 1 meeting is next week, and then the following week I'll be going to Anaheim, California with season 1 for the AECA convention, so I will bring back what I learned from that.
Kevin? Lori? Nope. Making everybody? Says everyone's so spread out. All right, excellent. And I will go on to committee reports. And if you see, we have changed the agenda a little bit. We split out and are naming each committee that we have, just so I remember to call on each one of them instead of just putting committee reports. So 5D, Educational Services Committee report.
So we continue to be updating as Courtney continues to have more information from our teachers in response to the literacy programs that we are reviewing. And she is keeping us up to date as best we can as we get closer to a decision process. We are also looking at approving middle school guidebooks in our resolution section, and then finally reviewing 2 new textbooks for pre-calculus AP as well as environmental sciences AP. So we're keeping busy.
Thank you. I do not believe the policy committee is met. Okay, and no business services committee either. All right, on to resolution 6, resolution action items, middle school academic guidebooks.
Motion to approve the middle school academic guidebook as presented. So moved, sir.
Get your work. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to approve the school resource officer contract as presented.
Second. Discussion? So this does include language regarding the K-9 that was presented to us a while back. The attachment is there for your reading. And that, I believe, is pretty much the only difference, just integrating that language. Yep. Any other questions or anything on that by anyone? No? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Alright. Motion to approve with thanks the following donations. For Mill Valley Elementary, removal of 22 stumps for the playground project from Jonathan Roberts at Husky Tree and Stump Removal. 100 plus pumpkins and art supplies from Bruce Fox at Fleet Farm.
So moved.
Any discussion? Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to discussion items. Budget standing, Julie? Yes. Okay. And 7B, 2024-25 school calendar.
All right, Ms. Schroe, take it over from here.
Mr. Peterson. All right, so before you tonight is our proposal of a draft for the 24-25 school year. Our committee, the calendar committee, very thankful to those who came and participated, giving their thoughts and their input into the calendar process. Many things are the same as in past years that you will see as you kind of look through it. So take a look.
Can you remember what the circle days mean?
If you look, like on the key underneath, that just usually indicates that there's some type of like key information. So like, for example, like the 3rd is like, okay, that's the first day of school, and it just highlights it on the calendar for you. Yep. Yes.
So, quick question. We have 2 inclement days built in. What happens, this is Wisconsin. It's real rare, but probably once a decade we're going to need where we need a 3rd or a 4th day. Do we take over like the teacher non-school professional days, or how do we build that in? Any thoughts?
I guess we would just have to wait and see kind of where we're at, and probably down to minutes and things like that for the students. So we'll have to figure all that out for sure. Yeah. Jeff, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, just having done it in the past.
Well, this past year, we actually had quite a few days. In fact, we had to supplement some of the hours of instruction with virtual learning with both the high school and the middle school. So we would do the same thing. DPI has given more flexibility over the years for us to be able to do that, understanding that we're providing access to learning for all of our students, and we can do that in a virtual way. So that would be the way that we would take care of it.
Okay.
Yep.
So I just have one question. So if I look up Easter on the thing on Google, it says Sunday, March 31st. Would you have March 31st as a Monday?
It's 25. You're 24. This is 25. That would be.
Oh, so we already have those. Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay, we're good. Got it. All right.
That's good. Good time to ask questions.
That's right.
Okay. So with that, our goal is to bring it back to the December 11th board meeting for approval then. Thank you.
7C, 24-25 board calendar. Any questions on that? No? All right. And that'll come back in December too?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And moving on to information follow-up. Any financials, your personal information memo, and any communication and miscellaneous business authorized by law. I'm not aware that we have anything under that. And the only thing left, we are going to be going into closed session. We will only come out of closed session to adjourn. And so at this time, I will do a vote for closed session. Vote for closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 subsection 1 subsection C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically the future district superintendent and related recruitment process. Is that Jason? Someone second? And a roll call vote, please. Jason? Yes. Brett?
Yes.
Derek? Yes. Evan? Yes. Lori? Yes. And myself. Okay. We will be heading to room 107 for closed session. We are in